All right, we are live. What is going on, all of you amazing, abundant leaders out there? I am Wally Carmichael, your founder and host of the Men of Abundance podcast, the Pay It Forward community, proving to you that you can, in fact, live a life of abundance in family, faith, finances, and fitness. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about mindset and gratitude. You know, gratitude is one of my very favorite topics to talk about. That's the way I start every single morning. It's the way I start every single podcast of Men of Abundance specifically. And it's quite frankly why I'm where I'm at today. And you're going to get a lot more gratitude today from our special guest, our featured guest today. Now, before we get into our conversation, something I want to share with you guys that I literally just started. And I don't know if you all know this, but I mentioned it on the last episode that I posted on the podcast. But I absolutely love sitting down and watching these TikTok videos. And I was watching TikTok back when it was Musically. And then I stopped watching altogether. I just gave it up for a while. And when I came back, I was like, where's my Musically app? And it changed to TikTok. So I was like, okay, whatever. The thing is, TikTok is very interesting, but one of my favorite videos to watch, whether it's on TikTok or any other platform, there have been quite a few on LinkedIn lately, are these paying it forward type videos. There's one TikToker that I follow, and what she does is she has people that are basically literally paying it forward on a GoFundMe page. And then she's taking that money and she's going out into the community and handing it to people who are underappreciated. Whether it's somebody that's homeless, a server. Isn't this neat, Lori?
I saw her.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? And I love it. And I can't get enough of that. Then I got to thinking, when I first started Men of Abundance about 4 years ago, I used to ask my guests, who would you like for me to donate money to for a cause as we start gaining money and earning money with Men of Abundance? Well, here's the thing. Men of Abundance never did start generating income. I never took on sponsors. I did have a few offers, but they just didn't resonate with the brand and with being a man of abundance, a person of abundance for that matter. So I declined. But nonetheless, Men of Abundance never generated income. It's actually cost quite a bit to put this out to you guys, and I absolutely love doing it, and I'm honored to be able to do it. But now it's time for Men of Abundance to start giving back. Well over 300 conversations for Men of Abundance alone, downloaded in over 100 countries, and many people commenting and saying, Wally, I love it. I got into coaching because people started connecting with me saying, will you coach me on living a life of abundance? Will you coach my husband on living a life of abundance? And I just think this is the best way for our community to come together and pay it forward and give to our communities. Now, the way I envision this happening is it's not just me going out and handing out cash that is donated and that we're building up on the GoFundMe page. It's you too. It's you giving up great ideas for us and going out and finding people in your community who are deserving. Us coming together and deciding who we're going to do this for, and you do it. I don't want to be the face of this. I have never been the face of Men of Abundance. You see my logo up there. I'm not the face. It's a community. So that being said, I'm going to put in the show notes and in the description, wherever you're watching this at, the GoFundMe page, but it's menofabundance.com/PIF for pay it forward. menofabundance.com/PIF. I should have made a ticker for it, but I didn't. But it'll be in the show notes. And I would love for you to just give a couple bucks. If everybody just gave a couple bucks, none of this is going to me. I promise you, this is all going towards a good cause. And I just think it's the best way for Men of Abundance as a community to come together and do this. What do you think, Lori?
That's awesome. I love that. I love that idea.
I appreciate that. I really do. And coming from you, especially with the conversation that we're going to have today. So without further ado, let me introduce our featured guest today. And I don't normally, this is one of my things. I was just literally this morning watching Gary Vee, and he said, and I'm the same way, he said, you can call me right now today. You can literally call me right now today and tell me to go over to the convention center and give some sort of a speech on what I'm passionate about in front of the whole stadium, which is probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 10,000 people. I don't know. I don't care. But reading in front of a group of Boy Scouts scares the heck out of me. But I'm going to do it anyway. because I'm up for the challenge. And I did this last time with Jeff Hoffman, and I think I did a pretty good job. Anyhow, I'm going to introduce our featured guest to you guys today. Our featured guest in 2003, Lori Saitz, launched Zen Rabbit Baking Company. That got my mind thinking right there when I started thinking about that. And anyway, and introduced the world to the gratitude cookie. Love it. Eventually, she became a nationally recognized expert in using gratitude to boost client retention and increase referral businesses. She then took what she learned about networking effectively as a quiet person when running the business and started reaching other professionals teaching other professionals. See what I'm talking about? This is why I do this, because I'm nervous. I can read, I promise you. How to build a strong network of connections. COVID-19 caused a revolution of her business. Is that right? Revolution, is that right? Of her business. And she saw an opportunity to return to gratitude and create a 5-day gratitude experience. Lori has now expanded upon that and developed a 12-session Trilogy for success program that includes components of gratitude, connection, and courage to help people who feel they don't have a purpose and find their reason to get out of bed in the morning. And if you see me sweating, it's because I just finished my workout and you made me read this amazing bio here. So I'm not going to lie about that. Lori, welcome to Men of Abundance. It's a great honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored as one of the few women to be on the show.
Yes, indeed. Where are you at in the world?
I am in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C.
DC, I have not had the pleasure of going to DC yet. I do
Really?
look forward to it. Yeah, I have not. In fact,
That always amazes me how many Americans have never been to their nation's capital.
Well, I'm originally from the West Coast,
I
and
get
I've
it.
been all over the world. The furthest up east I've been is Virginia. That's it. That's as far as I've gone. And now my son, a couple of years ago, they were stationed in Georgia at Fort Stewart, and they left 4th of July and went and camped out in the DC area and was in the area during 4th of July, which I think that's just really cool. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. And the thing about the city, everybody thinks it's all about politics and all of that mess or whatever you think about. I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the city itself is so much more than that.
I bet.
There's so much history and great restaurants and energy and beauty. It's
that's
not
truly,
just politics.
That's truly something you don't hear very often. And that is a very good side topic that we can get into, is the reality of what places are and people are and stuff like this once you really get out and get to know them. So for sure. As you know, I like to start out with an attitude of gratitude. And I know you've got something great for us today, as you would any other day. But what do you have to be grateful for today?
I have the most amazing friends. I feel blessed every single day when I think about the friendships that I have, and I am grateful for them because I just don't know where I would be without my friendships. And on top of that, my health and fitness. You mentioned you just finished your workout, and that to me also is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to work out with my little guy. We used to work out quite a bit, and we kind of got off track. So we're getting back into it. One thing about fitness is if you don't quit, you never have to restart.
Yes,
I'm restarting, but it's feeling good. It feels just absolutely amazing. Well, here on Men of Abundance, we like to get to know the person behind the abundance because, I just talked about some of your professional stuff that you have going on, and we're going to get more into that. But really, we like to get to know you a little bit more personal. So if you could, let's get a little bit more personal and shows us, how would you describe yourself?
I mentioned friendships in what I'm grateful for. And that is truly, my relationships are truly the most important thing in my life. So I would first describe myself as a loyal friend, because in order to have friends, I think you have to be what you want to bring into your life. So, friend, number one, friend, 2, entrepreneur. Like, just there's a lot that goes with that description of being an entrepreneur, not just somebody who necessarily runs their own business, but it's a whole mindset and a way of thinking and taking risk and being optimistic and always looking for the creativity and looking for the opportunity in whatever situation is presented to you. So entrepreneurial. And 3rd, and these aren't, mix up the order however you want, inspirational. It's really important to me to be a light to other people, to bring that light into other people's lives and to be inspirational and motivational. And those are a little bit different from each other, but that combination of inspiring and motivating.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dig a little bit into the friendship part, because let's be honest about it. It does take work to be a very good friend. And my thought process, and let's just have this conversation. You can only have really a handful of really, really good friends, because for me, there's a couple of people that I talk to that I check up on a regular basis that aren't blood family members, but I consider them blood family members. And if I don't hear from them in a while, if I don't see them, and it's easier these days, honestly, because they'll pop up on social media. But even then, usually people are sharing things that they want you to see. Some people do put all their stuff out there on social media, and you know who they are if you're really good friends.
Sure.
So how do you juggle that? How do you handle that and make sure that you truly are the good friend that it takes to be for, and however many friends that you have that are that close? I mean, the type that if I was in Hong Kong and there's a couple people I could call and say, look, I just lost my passport, lost my wallet, I need your credit card number, and they wouldn't even hesitate. It'd be done.
Yeah. That actually is so. Relationships are. Do you remember that movie, the City Slickers?
Oh yeah,
With
yeah.
Curly's one thing. My one thing is relationships, and I am the glue that holds a lot of friendships together. I've been told by many friends that they admit that they do a horrible job of maintaining the friendship, but they're grateful that I do it. It's just something that comes naturally to me. I have friendships that I've had since I was in the crib. And so I actually have an incredible number of very good friends that I could call and ask for a credit card number if I was in Hong Kong or wherever I was. and that is not by accident, because it's so important to me, because it's something that comes naturally to me in maintaining those relationships. And again, I'm not necessarily talking to those people every week. There are some friends I talk to maybe once a year, and one of them I'm thinking of is we've been friends since we were babies. And then we pick up where we left off when we start talking. It's just something I do. I just reach out. I stay in touch. Like I said, even if we don't stay in touch, there's something about that connection that I will maintain it. I'm trying to think of any, like, sometimes friendships are not for life, but for me, almost all of my friendships are. They are, once you become my friend, that's it. You're stuck with me.
Yeah. And it is, I have to admit, there was a time in my life where, because I traveled all the time and I was always all over the place, and I would constantly contact certain people. And I just got to notice that I would always contact them, but they would never contact me. We were only having a conversation if it was me reaching out.
Yeah.
And I got kind of bitter about it. I'll be honest. I got very bitter about it. And I was just like, screw them. If they're not going to ever contact me, I'm not going to contact them again. And I'll see how long it takes for them to contact me. And a couple of them did. Well, let me rephrase that. 2 of them did out of several high school friends, and the others just didn't. But, then when you reconnect later, you find out, we all got stuff going on. And to be quite frank, a couple of them were incarcerated. They had stuff going on in their lives that just they had to, focus on. But heck, that's when it's time to constantly reach out to friends when you're in need, because you know how terrible it is sometimes when you reach out to somebody when they need something. Everybody's got that family member. But I don't know. It's just it's a tough conversation to have, but I'm just the type of person that I help out when I can. But sometimes let's just be real about it. It's like, where were you
Yeah.
at last 20 years? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It is. It's a fine line because you don't want it's all you and you're thinking, well, if they don't want to make any effort, then maybe they don't want to be friends anymore. You don't want to keep chasing somebody who doesn't want you in their life.
Hmm.
And at the same time, some people are just not good at it. Or like you said, they have a lot of things going on in their life. There have been stages in my life where some of my friends were really busy raising little children and they didn't have, and I didn't have any. So we didn't have that common connection. So maybe we weren't as close during those years, but now that the kids are a little bit older, the friendship comes back around.
Yeah. Yeah. And, quite frankly, I figured out too that some of the guys that I grew up with, they ended up marrying somebody who was very, very controlling, guys and gals for that
Mm.
matter. But a couple guys that I'm thinking of in particular that just cut ties with everybody they knew because of their spouse. And part of me respects that, but then part of me is like, that's not something that my wife would ever ask me to do. She
Yeah.
puts up with some of my friends. Others, she loves them. They know
Yeah,
who they
that's
are.
a tough situation. But
Absolutely.
it's also their choice
For
to
sure.
acquiesce like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% for sure. So, one of the talking about some of that kind of stuff, we got into some things that happen in our lives, and I like to get into this kick in the gut moment, not because I like to really dig the nail in a little bit, but I like for people to realize that those of us, you're always meeting somebody who seemed like they got all their stuff together and therefore they've never had any issues in life. It's just been a easy ride the whole way along, but that's far from the truth.
Yeah.
Uh, you build resilience. I heard this recently. I'm going to admit this for the first time publicly. I just finished reading the book Girl Wash Your Face, or actually listening to it. And
Okay.
Rachel's absolutely amazing. And one of
Yes.
the things that she talked about resiliency is an analogy of babies building up an immune system. And you have to go through life to build up an immunity for resiliency. And I'm a master resiliency trainer, so it fits really good. But these kick in the gut moments also build up resiliency because we learn a lot about what not to do. And along the way, we learned how to change direction and learn what to do. And then, so share that with us. And also, we're going to get into what are you doing with that information and that experience. So if you would go share with
Yeah.
us a kick in the gut moment and really make us feel that.
All right. Well, this brings to mind a couple of different moments, but I'm going to go with the one I'm going to go with is my mom passing away, which was 6 years ago. And she was a very vibrant, her friends would describe her as one of the most vibrant people they knew. And she had, I don't know how to describe. So, and she had a very aggressive form of leukemia. And she was diagnosed in the middle of March and she passed away at the end of April. So there was not a lot of time. And people were kind of left shell shocked. Like, how could this person who seemed so full of life and healthy and like gone in less than 8 weeks? And to me, that was one of the most difficult times of my life. But what it taught me was life is short. I mean, people say that all the time, but you don't necessarily really get it. Like, you hear it, but you don't get it. And that's where I started thinking, okay, if I only had 25 years left to live, that's fewer years ahead of me than I have behind me. So what would you do that you maybe are afraid to do, or that you've been wanting to do, or that you've been putting off? Because people talk about, well, someday, but someday is not a day in the calendar. So what is it that you are waiting to do? And I heard this guy, somebody just introduced me to him last week. He's a professional speaker, and I was watching some of his videos, And he was talking about how at the end, the research that people have done with people who are on their deathbed, the number one regret is not something that they did that they feel like they shouldn't have done. It's that they didn't do something. They didn't live their life. They didn't live life for them. They lived it for other people's expectations. And so, yeah, I mean, doing whatever you have to do to fulfill yourself and that do what your heart is calling to you to do. A lot of people bury that for many years because they're afraid of how other people will react or the sacrifices that they're going to have to make. And yes, you have to make sacrifices to accomplish things, but let's redefine what a sacrifice is. Does that mean that you sacrifice watching TV for 3 hours a night so that you can read and learn and become better at a skill that you want to improve because you want to build a business? Like, that's the kind of thing that when you talk about sacrifice, it might not be like, okay, you can never eat chocolate again. That would be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But really it's a trade-off more than, maybe that's a better way of putting it. What are you trading? What are you putting your time and attention to?
So what is that for you?
What is that for me? What sacrifices am I making?
No, what is it that you're going after now, that you're doing, that you were holding off on before the death of your mother, and kind of getting into how you're paying it forward?
You're going to make me say what you're like I'm putting all of my vulnerabilities out here. Okay. Oh man. I decided that I was in a relationship that wasn't serving me. And I left my marriage after 30 years because I felt like everything was fine. It was fine. Nothing was wrong. Everybody, like we're both really good people, but it wasn't great. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't willing to put up with fine anymore. I want fantastic. I want amazing. And I know it's possible. So I want it. I see other people having it and I want it. Mm-hmm. So I, people said I was courageous, but I moved out and, and building this business and not having someone else's income to rely on. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, good for you. And thank you very much for sharing that. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that, because that's real. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
That's a big step. That's a very big step. And you didn't have to share that with us. So thank you very much for sharing that with us.
I felt like it was the right point.
There you go. You never know.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad we can, and Men of Abundance, we're here for you. We're here for you, virtually and literally. So absolutely. Where do we go from there? I mean, so now let's talk about that. Was something that you did personally, because you just said there's times that you have to decide what you're going to do and make that sacrifice and move forward. So the other part of being an abundant leader and being abundant, because success is personal. That's something you do for yourself and your family. Being abundant is, what are you doing? What are you doing with that information? Are you paying it forward? So how are you doing that? How are you paying it forward?
Yeah, that is a lot of the reason that when you read my introduction, the reason I created this program, which I'm actually calling From Fine to Fantastic, was because I did this thing and then 3 of my friends saw what I was doing and followed in my footsteps. Not that I pushed them to do it, but they, people look to see who can I follow as an example, who can hold my hand through this experience. I want to do, if you can do it, then I can do it. And so created this program because I look around on social media. I see the conversations going on in different groups. I see conversations going on in with friend groups that I'm part of. And all these people are stuck in this place. They're stuck. They're feeling like they don't have a purpose anymore. They don't know, like everything is fine. So whether it's the marriage is fine or the job is fine, it's not exciting. There's not room for growth, but it's a paycheck. It's fine. They're like talking about friendships. They're all fine. They're superficial, but at least, I have a couple of friends. It's fine. My health, I don't have any life-threatening diseases, but, I'm not maybe necessarily in great shape, but it's all fine. So I took this experience that I went through and said, all right, now I want to lead others who are feeling this same malaise and take them to a place where they have a purpose. They feel like they're excited to get out of bed in the morning instead of like, ugh, what else is today going to bring, And I think the past few months that we've been living have given a lot of people opportunity to reevaluate where they are in their lives and what they are tolerating and what they're not willing to tolerate anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a group of people out there who fine is fine.
Yeah.
But anybody listening to this show, I can 100% say fine is not fine. It's no longer fine. Maybe it has been for a while, but it's not anymore.
Yeah.
And just as you said, Lori, job, relationships, health, you name it, you can it takes a decision first, and then you got to find somebody to help you change it. This is one thing I'm a huge advocate for is people always ask me, I've been asked multiple times throughout the course of the last several years, is how do you reach your goals? How do you get this? Because I keep these books. I've got several around here, and I go back through them, and I said, man, this whole book I was writing in last couple years did that. One thing I write it down, but the other key thing is I get coaches, consultants, and mentors in my life.
Yeah,
I connect with people who are at least perceived to be where I want to be in life, at least in this part. And when I want to learn a new skill, I find somebody to teach me how to do that and to hold me accountable. I'm pretty good at holding myself accountable, but there's parts of the things that I don't like that I need to be held accountable to. So what does your program look like and why do you feel that it's beneficial to other people to get into your program and use you as a coach, mentor, or consultant?
It's exactly what you said about accountability, for one thing. So the program is 12 sessions and it's broken down into 3 parts, which you also mentioned in my introduction, which was gratitude, connections, and courage. All 3 of those are what I call the trilogy for success. And it's accountability. And a lot of times it's having somebody who believes in you before you can believe in yourself. And that's what a good mentor or coach or guide can do. It's giving you the hope. Like you said, first you have to make a decision that you want to change. And that's on you. And second, you have to believe, you have to have some hope that you can do it. And so seeing somebody else being part of a relationship where you can see that somebody else did it, then that can give you hope. And again, that belief, like having a coach, a mentor, a guide. And I had one in the beginning of when I started my first business. I had a mentor who believed in me until I could have the strength to believe in myself. That supported me to get up to a higher level so that I could then step into the belief in myself. And that is so important, like critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things like within you're saying, as I alluded to earlier, I was talking about when a spouse contacted me and said that she wanted me to coach her husband. was like, well, it don't work like that. First off, I don't coach in this arena. I don't do that. I ended up hiring people to teach me how to do it, obviously. But I said, he's got to want it. He's
Yeah.
got to listen to the show. He's got to like the content. He's got to resonate with me. And some people don't connect very well with me, and that's fine. Those aren't the people that
Right.
I necessarily want to work with. So thank you for doing that, because and what I found is working with a lot of different coaches over the last couple of years, leadership coaches, relationship coaches, career coaches, business coaches, is they fail to realize that the coaching relationship starts before you get paid, because
Yes.
you have to coach them into wanting you as a coach. And then
Right.
there has to be some skin in the game. There just has to be. I've tried coaching people for free, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
Period.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. They have to. So, like you said, it has to be a good fit. I'm not going to be a good fit for everyone, and that's okay. You find you connect with the right people. I've had so many coaches and mentors over the years, and I'm so grateful for those relationships. Some of them worked well and some of them didn't.
Mhm.
But it's just, it's just what works. And a good coach is going to, like we said, hold you accountable and hold your hand. Like, hold your hand and kick you in the seat of the pants at the same time.
And tell you what not to do. A great coach can tell you what not to do, what road
Yeah.
not to go down, depending on, regardless of what is going on. So, Lori, we're at the point where we are going to pay it forward. I got a couple quick questions to
Sure.
get through, and you ready to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. So, share 1 to 3 actionable steps that men of abundance can take today.
Yeah. Number one is find gratitude in your life for anything and everything. And I would say find gratitude even for the things that don't look like they are something that you would be grateful for. So even for the maybe what you would label as a negative situation, find some gratitude for that. Number two is pay attention to what you're criticizing and complaining about. And one of the activities that I have my clients do is when you find yourself complaining about something, catch it and add on to it, but I'm grateful for. Exactly the term, it's raining again and I can't go camping like I wanted to, but I'm grateful for the fact that, we need the rain, or that I still get to spend time with my son, whatever it is, but I'm grateful for. And number three is pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Pay attention to what you're feeding into your mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Just like you are what you eat, you are what you think about.
For sure.
I put a funny post up the other day on Facebook that if I am what I think about, I should have been a woman a long time ago, and specifically my wife. But I don't work like that. It's not literal in
Not
that
exactly,
sense. Okay.
right.
All right. So now that we got that cleared up. So what rituals make the biggest impact in your life?
Meditation every morning before I get out of bed.
So how do you meditate? There's so many different ways to meditate, and for some people it's like, meditation. What does that look like for you? What does meditation look like for you?
I use this app. It's a free app called Insight Timer. It has thousands of meditations on it, and it's free. They have a paid version as well, but free, you still have access to thousands of meditations. So I, every morning, open that up, see what attracts me. Sometimes I do ones that I've done before. Sometimes I'll look for something new, and I will do a meditation. And then more recently, I've added on to that. So I do the meditation in the morning, and then I listen to something motivational. And right now I'm stuck on Brendan Burchard's podcast, The Brendan Show. Mm-hmm. I love him. And you talk about people resonating with you. I look at him as a mentor, and I listen to an episode of his podcast because that gets me motivated for the day. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes also I will listen to a song, a motivational song. Like Carrie Underwood has a song called Champion. Ooh, that fires me up every day.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, I love that. And Brendan's awesome as well. There's a couple of my go-to songs that I go to as well. What are you reading or listening to other than Brendan? You just mentioned one for sure. that you could recommend to our abundant leaders, and why?
What am I reading? Um, one of my all-time favorite books is by Mike Dooley, and it's called it just went out of my head. It's Infinite Possibilities. That's what it's called. Infinite Possibilities. It's about visualizing and keeping your thoughts in the right place and manifesting. Really about manifestation. Yeah, I highly recommend that book. And then the other book I've actually gone back to is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bunch of people into reading that right now.
Yeah, those are both good books. I like anything around mindset and just practical examples of stuff like that. So it's not all woo-woo and everything.
Right.
Got to have the practical examples. I do anyway.
Yes.
What do you feel holds most people back from living a life of true abundance?
Complacency.
That's a new one. Expound on that.
Yeah.
I like it.
I know a lot of people say fear. But I think it goes back to everything's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to rock the boat. Mm-hmm. Everything's fine. So you get comfortable and complacent in where you are, and that makes you like you just accept that that's how life is. This is what it is. So this is what it is. And reluctant to take a risk because you don't want to upset the apple cart. Because what if what I go to isn't as good as what I have now, which I guess ties into fear, but complacency will just let you accept good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. Thanks for sharing that. That is very, very profound and absolutely 100% true. I mean, that's even when, one of the biggest things that get us in trouble being an Army medic and being in, various countries around the world is complacency. We just forget, we forget our environment. We forget where we're at.
Yeah.
Wander too far outside the gate by yourself and bad things happen. Mm-hmm. So you got to stay very diligent, and you got to what I refer to as constantly improving your foxhole. You got to constantly improving some way or another, improving your relationship, changing it up a little bit from time to time, like you do with I love what you do with your meditation is you change it up. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. Guys, something as simple as changing your dishes around in your kitchen from time to time. Something there's studies on this type of stuff that if you change things around, that's why my wife's constantly wanting to change the living room, and I used to fight it. Now I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let's see what we come up with.
Don't walk around in the dark.
Yeah, that's my problem. I can walk around in the house in the dark and not hit anything until we move stuff. So
right.
So what does being a woman of abundance mean to you?
It means, again, I'm going to come back to the connections, abundance in relationships, abundance in friendships, abundance in, humans are wired to connect interpersonally. And so that is just such an important part of our health, mental, physical, psychological health is those connections. So maintaining the connections and building new ones all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And about the connection, if those listening haven't heard me say it before, you're hearing it here first or hearing it from me first, is I cannot stand the term social distancing. It's physical distancing. I get it. We need social connection. Literally need, like oxygen, need social connection.
Yeah.
And that's why people are, doing what they got to do to get out and get social connection. Even on Zoom this is a good platform. This is a great way for us to connect. Not the best way, but it works.
Yeah.
I've been able to connect with a lot of people this way from all over the world I would have never connected with because of the technology. So, but still, we got to get out and have that personal connection.
I'm completely on the same page with you there.
I don't know who came up with that term, but I do not like it. Never liked it from the beginning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we are going to close this up. Before we do, we've got your ticker there. I know you've got some construction going on your website. So I will be updating this for those of you who want to get to the website. But you can use the link there, this tick going across on the ticker, and I'll have that link also in the description and in the show notes. So go ahead and check that out. But Lori, what did we not talk about today that you want to ensure that our abundant leaders get out of our conversation? And then how else can we find more of you?
Yeah. What else to talk about today? I mean, really, I think it's just about being true to yourself, being true to who you are, and listening to that voice inside of you that is maybe screaming to get out, but you've not been listening. So paying attention to it.
Excellent.
And listening. Where you can find me is at the link that you've got running here. That will share, you can find some more information about that Find to Fantastic and the Trilogy for Success program there. And LinkedIn. I mean, that's how you and I connected, right?
That is how you and I connected.
I'm on LinkedIn all the time.
People.
That's my social media platform of choice right now. And yeah, you can find me there. And then, yeah, my company. Yeah, that's the best place.
Perfect. I'll make sure I have your LinkedIn link posted in the description and the show notes as well. Again, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate the conversation. I knew it would be wonderful because we had already had a conversation prior. And go out, live your life of abundance. Keep paying it forward the way you are, because you're making a huge difference. And I personally greatly appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on.
My pleasure.